While we're in a period of transition to in-person worship combined with the availability of streaming, things may change from week to week. However, every Sunday here resonates with the same love and care to support you on your spiritual journey. So if this is your first Sunday with us, I invite you to come and visit us more than once to gain further connection with who we are as a faith and a congregation. We come together each week to seek the best in ourselves and to encourage and support one another. It's our purpose to nurture the individual spiritual path of each person and build a common faith based on our shared core values, which include recognizing the inherent worth of all people and the quest for justice and equality in our community and the world. In this congregation, we ask you to bring all of who you are, all of your questions, your yearning for peace and justice, your worries and your joys, so that these may be shared in community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we invite you into this community of searchers and seekers. Our services cover a wide variety of topics to help us explore different spiritual paths, as well as what it means to promote freedom, justice, and equality for all. Services are usually led by our minister. Other Sundays, we invite guest speakers or members of the congregation to speak. Today is a special day for us. Our new minister, Reverend Alex de Silva Souto, will be leading us in worship for the first time. I would like to give them a warm and heartfelt welcome, and I invite them now to offer us a personal welcome.
Thank you, Joan. Good morning, beloved. Good morning, good morning. I wanted to add to the gratitude that Joan expressed for the worship team, tech team, the board, everybody that has kept this community going during the pandemic and worked so hard so we could be back in this space. So deepest gratitude, and for you showing up as well. Thank you for all that could get vaccinated, that you did, and therefore could make this place safe and sound to the best of our ability. For the folks that are at home, hello. It's the first time on YouTube. I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications about when we're live, because hopefully we're going to be live all the time. Yeah, why not? So please subscribe. And I want to invite you at this time to fetch some paper, whatever kind of paper you can find at home, and something to write on. The folks that are in the sanctuary already have some paper and something to write on. So we're going to get to that eventually, but I want to give folks at home some lead time to prepare themselves, and whatever else you may have with you at home that invites you to a sacred place and reminds you that wherever you are, right there, whatever it may be, parking lot with your phone, it's sacred ground. So I want to remind you of that, encourage you to remember that. That's all that I have for announcements.
Now I invite Emma and Becca Warner to come forward to light our chalice. We are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, hearts that love, and hands that are ready to serve. Thank you. And now please rise. We can't sing, but we don't have the words anyway, so rise. and hum with gusto and along to the hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Open live in person. This is so exciting. So today I'm going to share a story about change and seeing what we can do to envision new beginnings. This is a story called The Memory Table. 7-year-old Stephen dragged his backpack down the unfamiliar pathway to his new house. School was over for the day, but Stephen was not looking forward to going home. Yesterday, a big moving van had brought all of his stuff to 746 Maple Street, and inside would be a mess of half-emptied boxes. This morning, he had found his toothbrush, but no toothpaste. Mom said it was in a different box. Stephen felt lonely and sad. Everywhere he had been all week was new. He did not recognize faces at his new school. The house did not greet him the same way as the old house did. As Stephen crossed the threshold of his new house, he slammed the new door and thought, even the door slams differently. Standing in the front hallway, Stephen looked up and saw his mom coming forward to give him a home hug. Home hugs at the door were his mom's specialty. Stephen felt the familiar warmth and love as his mom hugged him. He smiled up at her and forgot his sadness as he said, "I sure hope that's peanut butter cookies I smell." "That is a super nose you have there, young man," his mother answered. "Make way for Super Nose as it heads toward the peanut butter cookies. Close behind is Wonder Mouth that will eat them all," Stephen yelled as he sailed down the hallway toward the smell of peanut butter cookies. In the kitchen, Stephen stopped and stared. Everything was put away, and by the window was their very own kitchen table. This rough pine table had been his kitchen table as long as he could remember. It had 2 chunky legs on each end, which his mom always said made it easier to push in the chairs. All around the table were 4 chairs with thick legs and padded seat covers with chickens on them. Stephen walked to the table and saw the red permanent marker spot from when he was 2 years old and starting to draw, but without the paper. At the end of the table, there stood a napkin holder that he made at crafts day at camp, and the funny chicken salt and pepper shakers from his grandmother's house. In front of the salt and pepper shakers was the stained glass chalice he'd made at his old church. Right in the middle of the table was a hollow spot from the marble slab his mom used for cutting out Christmas cookies. And next to that hollow was a huge plate of his favorite peanut butter cookies. Stephen smiled as he sat down. His mom came over to the table with 2 glasses of cold milk and sat down at the familiar table in her own usual spot. "I know you've been sad, Stephen. You're missing all the old things and exhausted by all the new things. How are you feeling now?" said his mom. Stephen munched a cookie for a moment and answered, "I was really sad until I saw the table." "What did the table do to make you feel better?" asked his mom. "Well, I started thinking about all the things that happen at this table. We have Thanksgiving here with lots of relatives, and that can happen the same here too. And then we say grace at this table, and that will be the same even though we're in a new place." Stephen's mom smiled. "What else will continue at this new house?" "I can do my homework here and remember all the other times I've sat here and learned things," Stephen added. "Stephen, this table is a place where memories meet new experiences for our family. Our home is the place where we gather and eat together, grow together, and learn together. Even the building where we meet is new, but the good things that happen in our family home don't change." Stephen paused, and then he said, "Mom, can we light my chalice so I can remember all the times I learned at our old church? We're going to find a new church, aren't we, Mom?" Stephen's mom went to a drawer and got a match. "Yes, Stephen," she said, "we'll find a new faith home. Just like our family home, the rituals of our new Unitarian Universalist faith home will bring good memories. Let's light the chalice and say our affirmations from Sunday school. together. Stephen carefully lit the stained glass chalice. His mother helped him say the familiar words. We are Unitarian Universalists, with minds that think, with hearts that love, and hands that are ready to serve. Stephen felt warm and comfortable saying the words with his mother. His heart now knew that he had many old memories to bring along with him as he went into new places. And each new place would provide new experiences that would become new memories as his family created a new home around their table together. The end.
A few weeks ago, I met with Reverend Alex in the church office to start planning this service. I didn't realize how much I had missed being in the church office all this time. I've spent a lot of time in there over the many years that I've been a member, with different ministers, planning board meetings, planning worship services, planning memorial services. And we always spent some time just talking about how things were going in our lives and in the world. It's a very comfortable space for me, a space where I have felt nurtured and loved. And I felt that way again when I sat in my familiar, comfortable chair to talk with Reverend Alex. Reverend Alex was explaining to me what they wanted to do in this service, and they said they wanted to hear our dreams for our ministry together. I realized that that was one of my dreams, to just sit in that office with the minister and talk and plan. So I guess one of my dreams going forward is to be in this building where I have felt so connected, so loved, to reconnect with people I haven't seen in so long, and to build the kind of relationship with Reverend Alex that nurtures me and encourages my spiritual growth. Reverend Alex also wanted to know what I would commit to for the coming year in my relationship with the congregation and in my own spiritual life. And being with Reverend Alex and remembering the times that I felt like I was really being fed and energized by my connection with the church, it reminded me that I had drifted away from one of my highest aspirations as a spiritual person, to always remember to love the world. This loving the world thing does, in a way, come from my childhood religious background. I was raised in a Methodist church, and I attended church regularly. But I realized when I developed this commitment to loving the world that most of my theological underpinnings in the Methodist Church were formed by the time I was about 5 years old. After that, I think I stopped listening to what they said about God and about being a good Christian. In fact, I think I stopped listening after I heard Bible verse John 3:16, which begins, "For God so loved the world." I think I actually stopped listening after those few words, because until I looked the verse up again so I could refer to it here, I didn't remember the ending. Which is kind of a key element of Christianity, but that wasn't my spiritual path. The ending wasn't what resonated with me as a young spiritual seeker. What I carried with me from childhood was a belief that God loved the world. And while I don't interpret the word God the way John probably did, I think one of my foundational theological beliefs is that loving the world is as close as I can come to touching the divine. But in the last few years, I have forgotten my commitment to loving the world. I wasn't feeling like the world was loving me back. What with scary presidents, scary diseases, scary fires. And then I lost my connection to the one place where I could go with these fears. I lost my connection to this building, the people I see here, the church office with the minister to remind me that the world was still worth loving. Sitting home by myself watching little squares on Zoom just wasn't restoring my spirit to the point where I had the energy to love the world. So my commitment is to re-energize my connection with something larger than myself by remembering my spiritual practice of loving the world. I have a little cartoon drawing at home that has a picture of a knight and a dragon. It says, "Anyone can slay dragons. Try waking up every day and loving the world all over again. That's what takes a real hero." I can't say I will ever be a real hero, but I'm going to wake up every day and try to love the world all over again. Not for the world's sake, but for my own. I will close with one of my favorite poems by UU theologian Rebecca Parker, who started out as a Methodist, as Reverend Alex did, and I did. Choose to bless the world. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of listening, speaking, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question: what will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting.
Thank you, John, very much for the time you have spent with me and all that you have taught me already, and the generosity of your spirit. I also want to thank Mama Joyce and Vicky for getting the pieces of paper with some hard surface behind it and something to write on. So I invite you to get hold of it right now, and the folks at home, if you would please feel moved to get your piece of paper and something to write on. So at any point that you feel like jotting something down, don't be afraid. Don't wait for a go from me. Keep on going. And it doesn't have to be words either. If you want to draw, absolutely. And there's some crayons and more colorful tools over there with the children's table if you like. But essentially, what I want to offer you this morning is a question. I'm much more fond of questions than answers. Eventually, you will get to know that. So what is it that makes you tick? What is it that makes you tick spiritually? After all, we're gathering as a community of faith. But that spiritual could be a small s or a big S. It's your choice. What makes you tick? The clock is ticking. Hopefully not as a ticking bomb, right? Or those pesky parasitic insects prominent in New England, those awful ticks. Your heartbeat, the ticking of your heartbeat. What makes you tick that your heart feels alive again? What led you to become part of this beloved community of faith? What was it there that yeah, this feels like home. This is a good place, right? And I know that faith can be a very loaded word. So I invite you to liberate yourself from any possible hang-ups with that word or past traumas. Whatever your faith source may spring from, or however beliefs you may espouse, treasure, or hold in glorious spectrum from the tangible concreteness of empirical knowledge to humanism, atheism, non-theism, to the ineffable realities of a theist life. What makes you tick? Why are you here as an individual? I had the wonderful blessing of working with a search committee and working with a board and working with all the different teams in this congregation so I can learn what the dreams of this congregation is collectively. And I'm also very much interested in your dreams, as Joan offered this morning and reflected this morning and offer of her own dreams. What is it that makes you tick? Either as an associate member, aspiring member, a friend, and even if you were worshiping with us for the first time, I think there might be some guests on YouTube, a visitor, or welcome some, families that still member, living in the Bay Area, okay, all right, good. Whatever status you may hold or identity you may hold, what is it that makes you tick? And if you're not ticking, what is it that you're longing for? What is it that you need in order to be moving with and in time? I'm going to say that again. Moving with and in time. Notice that I'm not using the word moving ahead, right? We're moving with time. And by the way, this exercise is going to be a 4-week exercise. So ask for your patience and your openness to see what may come out of it. My encouragement is that you reflect on what makes you tick in this location, in this beloved community. And if you're not ticking, what is it that you need and desire? What are your dreams, as Joan shared her dreams with us? What is it that you're missing in order to tick in and with time? For the ones that their minds have registered some time-space, quantum physics, please, keep going. Keep thinking about it, yes. Please feel empowered to go there. And if you will, or stay as closer to the literal, what makes you tick in the beloved community called SFUU? And if you're not ticking, what is it that could make you tick again? Either if you ascribe to the notion that we are spiritual beings having human experiences, and some of you might have heard this before, it's not mine, I can't attribute, I don't remember, but somebody wiser than I said that we are having spiritual experiences, we are spiritual beings having human experiences, spiritual beings having human experiences. Or some other folks may say we are human creatures journeying into this human beingness. We are humans discovering our human beingness, or flat out human beings, as in from the earth, as elements of this wondrous creation. In Greek and Latin, the words for soil, for earth, or for mature compost is very much associated to what I want to encourage you to reflect on, right? This human, this humus. So the Greek Latin word is humus, right? Not like hummus, there's an extra M there, and it's delicious. Humus, right? The earth. And in Hebrew, the word is Adamah, and some of you may hear something, Adamah, Adam? Yeah? Creation? So wherever your mind may have taken you, I invite you to please go with your mind, go with your heart, and if spirit, either small s or big S, is something you factor in as part of your beingness, go there too. Now, if none of this has resonated with you, and you're like, what have we got into? And search committee, who is in the search committee again? I invite you to, at the end of the service, to come forward and take a little stone, or a big stone, your call, and hold on to it. Reflect with it, at least for a week. Yeah, maybe you can commit. We talked about commitment, yeah? Maybe committing to reflecting on what is it that might still be on your path as a stumbling stone, or something that might be weighing you down that you can't even reflect on what your needs might be, spiritually, mentally, intellectually, and otherwise. So that's the invitation, in order to invite everybody to participate wherever you may be, joining us from. And folks at home, I know I didn't ask you to go in the garden and get some stone, but at the end of the service, I invite you to go to your garden or anywhere else that there's something of substance, of concreteness, that you can hold on to or pay attention to throughout this week as you reflect on this question of what makes you tick. Yeah? What do you feel? How are you doing? With me? Did I lose you already? No, not yet? Okay, great. Let's keep on going. Because we are blessed to have wonderful music, and music can inspire us. So if nothing that I said or suggested you do inspired you, hopefully this special music selection will. We celebrate every gift we receive, don't we, right? Yes, so that was an amazing gift. Thank you so much. And I learned there are so many musicians. Hi, right? Yeah. Hi. So many musicians in the congregation. So I'm very excited to receive your gifts too, collectively. So no pressure. And as a community of faith, we come together. We come together as often as we can, and we help one another, lifting up our joys, so we multiply our joys, we share our joys with each other, and our sorrows, that hopefully will be lightened up by knowing that we are not alone in our suffering, in our challenges. So we're going to bring back the notebook of joys and sorrows. So we encourage you, every time you come into the sanctuary, to write it down. Your sorrows or your joys, that will be shared in the e-beacon. So please note that whatever you share there will be publicly shared. So if you're praying for somebody else, make sure you have permission to share about whatever joys or sorrows that they're going through. And know that there's some gradients there between not sharing it and sharing. Sometimes, they would be okay with having their first name. And that's all you write. You don't have to write the details about their illnesses or anything like that. So I invite you to expand your practice of prayer and in your mindfulness and how that's done and how we're doing it together. You can also, especially for folks that are at home, you can email joys and sorrows, all one word, right? Joys and sorrows, plural, at mysfuu.org. Joys and sorrows at mysfuu.org. Email that to us, and that will be shared with our congregation. So let's take some time. Pause. I encourage you to maybe adjust your body position. Some of you know that I'm a yoga teacher, so we're going to do some yoga now. So I invite you, if you're on a chair on a hard surface, to slide your hips forward a little bit. So your upper body, especially your spine, is supported by your hips as, going to good design. Yes? Stacking up your vertebrae. That way, when you take a deep in breath, you can go as deep as you can possibly go. And I know it's hard with masks, but even more reasons, right, to go deeper with our breath. So let's take a deep in breath. Go as deep and as wide and broad as we can, and then let go. Staying with your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Now calling into mind the ones who may be in suffering. Don't forget to include yourself. So think of those whom are experiencing sorrow, sadness. The ones on the path of all-consuming fire. The ones in areas of conflict and war. The ones desperate for a way out. Breathing in. And we let go and we breathe out. Surrendering. And at this time we remember the little miracles or the wonderful labor of community and individuals that we may not choose to label it a miraculous, but astounding and extremely generous. Whatever joy that you may be able to recall this morning, I invite you to hold it, to treasure it. And as you breathe out, offer it to the world. Loving the world as Joan has committed to do. Breathing in and breathing out. We remember Bob, and we ask that his recovery and healing of his ribs may be expedient and less painful with time. We remember our siblings in Afghanistan, in Ethiopia, in Oakland. We remember our neighbors. We remember the ones that we may not know, they may not have strong feelings about. And we also pray for the ones that see themselves as our opponents or even enemies. And the ones that we may perceive as opponents or even enemies. And I invite you to receive these words from the Sufi poet Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. I invite you to continue in the spirit of reflection, meditation, and prayer as we hear the hymn 1031, filled with loving kindness.
It is often said that the offering is the sacrament of the free church. That is to say, everything this congregation is and has is only what we bring to it, our time, our talents, and our treasures. In person here, we embody this by the powerful ritual of passing the plate, which we will do in a moment. If you're at home, you can contribute to our collection at our website or using text to give. As part of our ethic of generosity, we also split our monthly collection with a local community organization aligned with our values. This month, the Share the Plate recipient is the Sierra Streams Institute. Sierra Streams Institute, a local scientific community dedicated to environmental conservation and land and water stewardship. Its mission is to link water science and people for the benefit of human and environmental health. Dance and jump around to our closing hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love. I must answer yes to love.
I want to once again thank Joan for working in partnership with all of the folks that were vital to this worship service. Becca, Emma for lighting the chalice. Patty, Patty, yes, for singing. Yes, absolutely. Adrian, and thank you for bringing your children too, helping us out with connecting with the younger ones. Mama Joyce, Vicky, Amy, Suzanne, Izzy as well. Thank you, Izzy. Izzy's like first Sunday, right? Behind the screen. Thank you so much for all your work. The ushers too, and thank you, Mary, coordinating the ushers, right? Yeah, thank you so much. So deep gratitude for you showing up. Yes, and for you folks at home, still adapting perhaps in new platform. So please receive these words. As we go forth, let us reconnect with our human beingness. You can join if you want, absolutely. Let us welcome all that is, the good, the bad, the indifferent, even the unknown, with the same openness, generosity, and grace that we were received this morning.
Please join in our closing words as we extinguish our chalice. Just think them in your head. As we go forth, may we carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
Blessed be, blessed be.